Have you ever considered becoming a vegan? Do you want to make the change but don't know what the first step should be? If you feel overwhelmed, don't worry, because now there is a clear guide to success. The easiest way to become a vegan is a step-by-step guide to overcome your meat-eating habits. For more information, visit www.veganintel.com and get your manual today.
A vegan lifestyle is the future. Let's talk about it. I'm a little advanced. I'm a spaceman, so I'm a little advanced. I changed my name in 1979. I wasn't nothing but 21 years old. I became a vegan in 1979. I was nothing but 21 years old. And in 1979, you had to be pretty advanced in your thinking to come to the realization that eating dead animals was unhealthy. But you know, it's not just about eating the dead animals. There is a whole vegan lifestyle that includes eliminating preservatives, artificial flavors, artificial coloring. We avoid GMO products as much as possible if we can detect what's GMO and what's not. It's all about taking care of yourself to the best of your ability. And this is a futuristic mind state that is going to catch fire, you know, and spread all across the world. Veganism is going to be a major lifestyle in the future. When it comes to promoting a vegan lifestyle, it's all about bringing the facts to the people in an intelligent conversation and some intelligent reasoning where they can make good decisions. But life is always on our side when we're trying to promote becoming a vegan, because the general public usually will hear about becoming a vegan. Some of them will go for it, some of them won't. But people have to go back around their families and their communities and deal with the drastic and very terrible situation we have with health problems all across the planet, especially in America. So a person might ignore the message, but you know, they're going to be surrounded with people with diabetes, congestive heart failure, people are going to be having strokes, problems with their kidneys, problems with their liver. Their immune system is going to be weak, and so on and so forth. So life is going to dictate a change. Younger people are going to get tired of burying their relatives early, are going to get tired of their relatives having serious medical problems early in life, you know, at 40 years old, sometime in your late 30s. And this is why when you hear people say, well, you're going to die anyway, don't go for that, because you won't necessarily die anyway. You might be waiting for a liver transplant or a kidney transplant or a heart transplant. So, you know, you might have to live on dialysis. You might have diabetes for the rest of your life from the age of late 40s to 80 years old, if you live that long. You know, so from my perspective, it's not about arguing with the person that disagrees. I let them go and let life teach them their lesson, because some people got to learn the hard way. As we've been saying for many, many years, there's only two type of people in the health food store: the wise and those under doctor's orders. So people have to find out the hard way, and what I want people to know is, even if you don't listen, if you get sick and you go to the doctor, let the doctor give you a diagnosis and tell you what the doctor thinks is wrong, and then go and try to find a way to help yourself naturally. Even if you're going to take the poison pharmaceuticals that they will give you because they're paid to prescribe drugs. The medical industry are the biggest drug dealers in the world. And that's why we have an opioid epidemic all across the planet right now, because the main drug dealer has not been dealt with correctly. But once you get the diagnosis, then go and do some research on things you can do to increase your immune system, to increase your health. All of these things to increase your health are plant-based. As the great brother Melchizedek says, vegetation is the source of all medication. So what you want to do is you definitely want to do research. You don't want to make this is not about meat versus vegan. Anytime you see someone that is a meat eater that's trying to make this meat versus vegan, they are definitely sending you off with a false information and a false war. That's not a real war. We're talking about health here. We're talking about health. This is something that us as vegans, we're not going to retreat from this message, because our message is right and exact that people have to take care of their health. And eating these dead animals is not at all good for your health. I have a lot of religious people that watch my videos, and they ask me about in the Bible how people were allowed to eat meat. And I tell people all the time, if you watch closely, if you read the scriptures closely, what is called the Bible, you will see that as man became more corrupt, he damaged the planet. Things happened to the planet. And so there were dietary changes allowed based on what was going on. For example, man wasn't really allowed spiritually to eat meat according to the Bible until after the flood. Well, of course, the flood wiped out most of the vegetation. But because this is for the religious people, some of you are not, but because you're allowed to eat dead flesh and it not be considered a sin, although certain animals you're eating are still considered an abomination, so you need to read it closer. All those creepy crawly things you're eating at the bottom of the sea, shrimps and lobsters, those are considered an abomination. But although these things are not punishable spiritually, you will punish yourself physically. Like I tell people all the time, whatever God you believe in, they're not going to necessarily condemn you for smoking cigarettes, but you will most likely destroy your lungs. You see? So make a division between what is allowed spiritually and what's going to damage your body. So in other words, if you believe in the spirituality and the teachings of the Bible, in other words, if you eat a bunch of dead flesh and you die early from congestive heart failure because you're morbidly obese, you might not necessarily go to hell, but I mean, some of the deadly sins are gluttony. So, I mean, read your scriptures closely, because gluttony is also an abomination. And most times when you eat these poisonous foods, these artificial flavors and colors and sweeteners, and this dead flesh, they have an addictive quality. That's why they say the Big Mac attack. Well, what was that? It was stuff that they put in these things to make you addicted. People are not addicted to tobacco. They're addicted to cigarettes. But cigarettes are sprayed with about 100 chemicals to make you be addicted. Your food has corn syrup in it, all right? It has this sweetener in it, and this sweetener is very addictive. It makes you eat more food than you would eat. You would be surprised at how many products you give your children that has high fructose corn syrup in it. And you would also be surprised at the technique that's used to develop this high fructose corn syrup. In some products, when you look at the ingredients, it will say sugar, then it would say another type of sweetener, and then it would say high fructose corn syrup, and then it would say fructose. So it will have 4 very strong sweetener sugar-like ingredients in there. They won't label them all together. They'll have the first one here, the sugar, and then they'll down in the ingredients here, they'll have the corn syrup, and here they'll have this, and then they'll have the fructose. And they got all of that stuff in your food. And what this does when you eat this high amount of this corn syrup, it increases your appetite. It makes you eat more than you would regularly eat. So this is why you're getting in these hunger pains from this poison that you're putting inside your system. This poison is designed to make you eat more and more and more. And these poisons and additives and artificial sweeteners that's in the food, when you eat, your body doesn't know what to do with that. So your body does what it's been doing for centuries. It stores it as fat. It doesn't know what else to do with it. It's an alien. You're eating an alien ingredient into your body. You're a man or a woman, but you're eating man-made stuff. You're not eating natural stuff. You're a natural being. See, you're a natural being. You're not man-made. You're born. And just like an apple grows out the ground, just like a pear grows out the ground. They're not made. They're born. They grow up out of the ground. They're a part of nature. So you being a part of nature, you should be partaking in things that's a part of nature. But instead, you're dealing with chemicals for the most part. These chemicals are added into your meat and into a lot of the processed food that you're buying. And if you use natural ingredients to make a food, if you want to make a food, if you want to make these foods that are put together that aren't, in their natural state, if you use a natural ingredient, you basically have just formed something that's still natural. But if you use unnatural ingredients, now you form something that is deadly and could kill you. So, basically you have 2 types of processed food. You have foods that are processed with poison and chemicals and artificial flavors and sweeteners and preservatives, and you have food that's processed with natural ingredients. Some vegans don't like processed food, but any food you cook is processed. If I make a pie, that's a processed food. I took natural ingredients and made the pie. So it's not about the pie being processed, it's about what I use in the process. So if you use a poison in the process, then you have a poisonous processed food. And if you use natural ingredients, then you have a natural processed food. A lot of times natural processed foods could be spiked up with vitamins, nutrients, herbs, and spices that will go in and help the body. So, you hear me a lot of times talking about do for self. And the number one thing when it comes to doing for self is taking care of your body. That's number one before you go into business. You can't go into business if you're sick. So what you want to do is you want to do for self. You want to take care of yourself. You want to take care of your children. You don't want to be so stubborn that you want to make a war. You see, with veganism, for some meat eaters, they trying to make a war They try to be stubborn and they try to make it veganism against meat eaters. This is not smart. This is not a wise way to move, because as a meat eater, you're not bringing anything to the table. You see, there used to be a time where we thought that meat eaters could have possibly brought something to the table. But a person like me that's been a vegan now 39 years, going on 40 years, I mean, that whole meat eater story is dead in the water, right? Where have I been getting protein all these years? According to meat eaters in 1979, I should be dead already, right? When in all actuality, all of the people my age are in much worse shape than me, are on pharmaceuticals, and make quite a few doctor's visits, which I don't make any doctor's visits. So the whole meat versus vegan argument is dead in the water. At this point, we realize that meat is no good for you. There's nothing else to discuss. And this also goes for dairy products. Cow's milk is for a cow. It's for an animal that's going to weigh thousands of pounds. It's not for human consumption. This is why so many people are lactose intolerant. I seen a commercial the other day said, "Come back to milk." They're really trying to go and fix the milk some type of way to make it so that so you won't have all this lactose intolerance. But it's not made for you. It's made for a baby cow. You know, your mother's milk was made for you as a child, and then you have been given the intelligence as people that come from another planet, because yes, beings came from another planet and created us all. And so we're a half of our relatives are people that are things that were created here, and the other half of our relatives come from another planet. So we are very intelligent beings. This is why we have airplanes, and this is why you can see me through the airwaves. I'm not in your house right now, but you can see me. We're very intelligent. So we need to use our intelligence and not act so primitive. You know, people sometimes say, well, originally man was eating bugs. No, originally man came down, was created from beings from a spaceship, and he wasn't eating bugs, okay? So you don't be a person living, driving a car, right, flying in an airplane, but telling me you have to eat like a caveman picking up bugs in the Caucasus Mountains, you know? Because this is a false teaching, you know. And even though Europeans come from a colder climate where they had much less fruit and vegetations, and most likely did have to, in many cases, survive on whatever they could find, the Europeans are some of the main people promoting veganism today. This is not dead. And that is not the beginning also, and that's a whole nother story. You just wasn't in the Caucasus Mountains originally. Originally, you were somewhere else. I didn't want to get into all of that. But what I'm trying to tell you is that when it comes to taking care of your health, don't get yourself in a position where you're debating that. Because now, while you're debating if it's all right to eat this dead flesh, what you're doing is you're damaging your own family, because you won't be open-minded enough to be like, well, I might at least cut back. This is 2018. Why am I still promoting the way people ate in the 1700s? For some people, they do like to promote how people ate in the 1700s, 1600s, and 1800s, and the early 1900s. But that's also false, because you can't eat like that. You can't eat like that. Those cows are gone. The cows that my grandfather raised in Alabama, you don't have those anymore, okay? The chickens, you don't have those. Even the fruits and vegetables are weaker because of our destruction of the planet. But if you're eating a fruit and a vegetable and it's weaker, that doesn't make it poison. But if you're eating something dead and it's going into your body and it's rotting inside of your body, that's very damaging. You know, your body cannot pass meat like it could pass fruits and vegetables. Doesn't take a rocket scientist to know that if one man eats a hot dog, eats some bacon and eggs in the morning, then has a hot dog for lunch or eat a steak at night, and the other man eats some fruit in the morning and have a nice vegetable lunch and then have vegetables for dinner, we know which one bowels are going to move the quickest. We're not stupid, okay? We know that meat, common sense tells you now it's 2018, so we're wiser now. So common sense tells you that these lumps of meat are not going to pass through as fast as the other fruits and vegetables that the other person would eat. So we want to be wise. Also, when you talk about eating meat, this is a mentality of carelessness. This is a mentality of taste. Taste. That's all it has. Taste. They try to lay on protein, but vegetables have way more protein than meat. I mean, cows don't eat meat. How they get that big? Gorillas, elephants. I can go on and on. So the thing is this, is that while you think you're promoting meat, you're actually being very laxed on artificial colors, artificial flavors, artificial sweeteners, preservatives, see, all the other poisons. So it's more than just being a vegan. It's about being concerned with your overall health. And on the side of a vegan, we promote being concerned with your overall health, whereas on the side of the dead flesh eaters, they just don't care. It's how it tastes. And so there's no issue with artificial sweeteners, colors, preservatives. And so our children all across America go out every year for Halloween, and you think you're doing something great for your children, and you have your children consuming a large amount of artificial flavors, artificial colors, and preservatives that basically you can Google and find out cause cancer. And the proof is in the pudding. I became a vegan in 1979, and children didn't have diabetes like they have now. They have a whole new form of diabetes. Children have diabetes. Children are having liver problems and kidney problems. Children are having major problems with their organs. Children are crazy obese. Like, we have morbidly obese children, a lot of them. When I was young and in grade school, we would have a fat person, because back then, here in Chicago, when you went to school, it went from kindergarten up to the 6th grade. Then you had to go to a middle school. And from kindergarten to 6th grade, it'll be maybe 2 classes of each one, 2 6th grade class, 2 5th grade class. Now, all those children, seriously, there might be 2 fat children in the entire school, Like in my class, there was a fat girl in my class. I can't remember any other fat girls in any other class. So we had, in a whole school, we had a fat student or 2, right? Now, look at all the fat children in our schools. Look how parents have forsaken their children because you want to eat slop. And, we have people that take better care of their cars in their homes, and they take care of their bodies. They take better care of their material things than they take care of their organs. So, be wise and take care of yourself. Take it to the next level, okay? Take care of your health. Think about your health. Think about all the processes that go on to make it possible for you to eat all these dead animals. And think about the companies that spend hours trying to make strawberry flavoring rather than give you strawberry. And if you're considering changing how you eat, go slow. Go slow. Take it easy. One reason that people resist changing how they eat and going vegan is because no one has brought it to them in the correct manner. Because I've been a vegan for 40 years now, it's going to be 40 years in a few months, I know the tricks of the trade, and I know how to help you. And so you want to go slow. If you just try to throw everything out and just try to change overnight, if 30 of you all do that, only maybe 3 to 5 will succeed. The other 25 will fail. So get this manual, The Easiest Way to Become a Vegan, and you can get it at www.veganintel.com, and you just order it. It's only $7 and shipping. So get this will help you take a step-by-step process to eating better. Each page is another step. You can just hang it up on your refrigerator on whatever step you're on and just leave it there till you go to the next step. And it's designed to make you feel and let you know that every step is a reward. So if you're a meat eater, let's say you never make it to being a vegan. Well, if you have successfully accomplished 2 or 3 of these pages, you can honestly say that you're doing way better than you were doing. So, even if I can't get you to totally stop eating dead animals and consuming dead flesh, I can get you to at least know that you can still not eat so many preservatives and artificial flavors and colorings and sweeteners. So this is what we want to do. We want to help people go to the next level. We don't want to make a competition. And so that's why this manual is rare, and that's why my whole teaching style is rare, because I'm not a person here for vegans. Most times people come vegans, and which is good too, and then they want to make recipes and food and things like that to show other people that it's becoming vegan. And you have a lot of that, and I salute them for doing that. That's great. But you need people to help people transition. So I'm the meat eater's friend, right? I'm the person that used to eat, the meat. I used to eat the pork chops. I used to eat the Italian beefs, you see? I used to eat the lamb chops. I used to eat the bacon and eggs. I'm that person. I'm just like you. And so I never get so big-headed that I forget the old me. So for those that are eating meat and stuff, I'm looking at you as the old me, and I'm trying to make you be the new me so that you can look back and be glad that you're not the old me. So for those of you out there that do eat meat, don't be fooled. Don't let anybody trick you into making it an argument, because you're trying to do what's best for your own health. So block out of your mind that you're going against the vegans, that it's a vegan against meat eaters. This is false. It's not vegan against meat eaters. It's those people that feel like they're taking care of their health, trying to advise those that they feel are damaging their health. This is the real debate. Don't try to make it simple. Don't say, oh, vegan against meat, because what does vegan represent? It represents taking care of your health. And what does eating meat represent? Eating meat represents not caring. Now, of course, some meat eaters are going to say, well, I care. Yeah, but you know what I'm saying. You see the Burger King commercials. You see the McDonald's commercial. That's the meat industry. And the whole mentality behind that is it tastes good. And don't care. The Happy Meal they give your children, that's not healthy, right? And even McDonald's realized that the gig is up. Just look. McDonald's, when I was a kid, I remember when the Big Mac came out. So I'm an OG. I remember when the Big Mac came out. And the Big Mac came out, right? They had the double cheeseburger. They had the quarter pounder. Remember? Okay, look, over the last 8 years, tell me McDonald's hasn't included a whole bunch of chicken sandwiches. Why? Why did they have to go from beef and start promoting so much chicken? Because they see that the times are changing. People are trying to get away from pork and beef for sure. And now, once they realize how damaging the chicken is, they're trying to get away from that. And then with Fukushima and what they're doing, polluting the ocean, I mean, the fish, the fish is radiated at this point. So we want to get away from all of that. We do not want to let big corporations kill us. And right now, the big corporations see that. They're buying up all of the vegan meat products. They're starting to see, they're starting to invest. Restaurants are starting to carry vegan. They almost have vegan burgers in almost all the restaurants nowadays. Those that don't have it will have it by next year. Thank God it's Friday. I think they got the Beyond Burger. There's a couple of other major places you can go eat, and they have a vegan burger. Why? Because it's getting to the point that if you don't have vegan, you're going to lose money because there's more and more and more vegans. So if the big corporations know that, if they're going to buy field roasts, because they were bought by a meat company up in Canada, right? All of these companies are being bought out, okay? If you see the furniture place that sells the IKEA, if you see IKEA's got a vegan hot dog, what does that tell you? You understand? That everybody sees that this is the future, okay? The profits and veganism and vegan food. And in 2017, it was 1,000% increase in profits. Why? Because the gig is up. And some places in Europe, almost the whole country is slowly turning vegan. People are resenting all of these medical problems. People are becoming aware that the beef industry and the meat industry is funding the Heart Association and the Diabetes Association, and that when you go to these big health conferences, that they're all in the pocket of the meat industry and the alcohol and cigarette and the pharmaceutical drug industry. They're all out to give you liposuction, to give you some type of surgery, okay? They're all out to rob you. They rather you get sick so they can make the money off the surgery, make the money off the pharmaceuticals, make the money off the hospital and doctor's visits, rather than have you get well and damage their industry. They're much like lawyers, you know, lawyers and judges. They have like a club. And so if you go to court without a lawyer, they don't want it. They want to make sure you lose. They don't really care about you. So it's the same with the meat industry and the poison industry. Somebody's making a lot of money selling fructose corn syrup, and somebody's making a lot of money selling red dye and yellow dye and green dye and blue dye. Somebody's making a lot of money selling all these cupcakes and cakes and donuts and candy that's full of poison for your children. And they want to tell you your children can't sit down in class, and your children, you know, can't pay attention, got attention deficit and all this craziness. When your kids go home, you feed them straight poison. And, you know, you sit there, the mama and daddy, you weigh 340, 400 pounds. And then your baby is a little baby. Your baby is big and fat. And you want to say it's hereditary. No, it's not hereditary. They eating that same junk you eating. Okay? No, it ain't hereditary. It's passed down intentionally because you don't care nothing about your health, so you don't care nothing about your children's health. With Google out here, you can Google all of these things now and see, which just shows you how phony it is. You know, this world, this Babylon world is real phony. Anytime you can go to Google and find out that red dye is poison and that yellow dye and all this stuff is poison, yet turn on the TV and they sell it to you, tell you come get some tricks, get some Fruit Loops, get all this stuff. And all this stuff got all this unnatural garbage in it. And in all fairness, a lot of the cereal companies realize that. They're trying to find natural coloring and stuff. But it's just like the one juice company. I forgot, I think it was Tropicana, one of them. They had the juice, and they were putting bugs in there to make the juice red. The Starbucks was using it in one of their drinks, too. I had to tell a lady in the store, she was buying some juice. I was like, lady, you see this ingredient right here? This is bugs. These are dead bugs. Why would you put dead bugs in some juice to make it red with all of the natural things out here to make it red? I'll tell you why, because bugs is cheap. You can go breed a whole room full of bugs and don't have to pay nobody and just squash them up and put them in your juice. But you got to really do some work to use strawberry coloring and coloring from cherries and coloring from cranberries. So these big corporations, they want to take the easy way out. And they just want to make money, and they're going to sell you something. If this guy know he's putting bugs in the juice, you think he's drinking it? He's not drinking that. He see the nasty bugs that he crushing up, putting in your juice, putting it in your drinks. Go vegan.